Hello and welcome back. Last time we showed you how we make the gelatine prosthetic pieces. This time we're going to show you how you actually apply them to the skin. So first of all, you're going to need some fake up prosthetic adhesive that you're going to apply to the back of the prosthetic. So you can coat it on fairly thickly, pat it down a little bit so it gives a thin layer to end up with, then let that dry. While that's drying, get your subject, who in this case happens to be me, and apply it on the skin area where you're going to actually put the prosthetic. Again, layer it on. It looks quite thick. It's not that thick actually, and that will dry out nice and flat and nice and clear. Now once it has dried and it is clear, and you can touch it and pick it up and it doesn't stick to you, you can then apply it to the skin. So pick the place where it's going to go and gently place it over the skin. Once you've done that, from the center start patting it out gently so it bonds. Basically what's happening here is the glue is on the side of the prosthetic and onto the skin, and that's basically going to make sure it sticks together perfectly. So you can pat down, pat around to the edges. Again, you'll notice those edges aren't blended in yet, but that's what we're going to do next. And the next thing to do is to get your fake up gelatine blender. If you haven't got any gelatine blender, you can also use witch hazel. And what you do is you take a cotton bud and gently start wiping away at the edges. Wipe away, not inwards, because what you don't want to happen is you don't want it to curl back up and create a really thick layer. So gently wipe away, and that will melt down the gelatine. So go all over it, nice and gently, patting away until all the edges are gently melted away. If the edges are a little bit thick on some places, then you might need to spend a little bit more time actually melting them away. But most of our pieces come pretty feathered, so you should be okay just to gently go in and melt that away. Now you notice that that looks pretty good already. What we're going to do now, because this is a bullet hole or a vampire bite, I don't know why you've got a vampire bite or a bullet hole in the hand, but we're actually going to put a bit of fake blood in there. What we normally recommend is, if you've got any paints or anything like that, is just where the wound is. If you go in with a bit of darker red or black, that adds a little bit of 3D depth to it, but it depends how thick you want to go with the blood. We also make a really thick gelatine based blood. Basically what this is, it's a much thicker version of the stuff that you drip in, and as you can see it's very globby, and what will happen with that is, because it's gelatine based, it's not going to run so much, so you can actually drop that into deep wounds and it will stay in those wounds and it won't sort of drip out and make a mess all over the place. If you don't want lots of runs, then it's a really good thing to use. So obviously if you want to paint your piece, then you can use alcohol activated paints. We use paints from Mr. Dashbo to paint the pieces that we use. They're really good sets. Alcohol activated paint is quite expensive, but it does go a long way. You'll find that really sort of small washes with this, and it will last a long time. We tend to run out of reds a lot quicker than we run out of any of the other colours, for obvious reasons, because we do a lot of bloody gore stuff. But yeah, these are the palettes. They're from Mr. Dashbo. I think a palette like that costs you about £30. It will last you ages. You can also use cream paints. These come in various shades and various sizes. Ben and I do some really good ones, some death wheels, some zombie wheels and stuff like that. But we're going to just quickly paint this piece with some alcohol activated paints. And again, it's just very, very thin washes all around the edges. We're trying to get a little bit of bruising in there, because obviously if you've been shot, it's going to bruise your hand. So we want a little bit of red and a little bit of blue in there, maybe a touch of yellow just to emphasize that bruising. And when that dries, you'll have a lovely shot to the hand. So again, you don't have to colour these pieces if you don't want to. We make the gelatine so that it pretty much matches any skin colour. It's fairly translucent. We had a little bit of red and blue flocking in there just to simulate some of the sort of little arteries and everything you get in skin, so it's not too flat. And to remove it, we just use, again, witch hazel or fake up blender, and that will just pretty much put it off. Wipe away with some warm soap and water or some baby wipes, and your hand will be nice and clean and back to normal again. Thanks for watching. We'll have another video tutorial coming your way pretty soon.